What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Pete Berger here, aka the Tattooed Golf Guy, coming to you with my favorite video of the year. It's my 2025 What's in the Bag. Now, if you watched last year's video, you would know that I was a tailor-made Tyler. I had tailor-made from top end to the bottom end of the bag. I was all one company, and this year I have one club that is still in this bag that is the same from last year, and even that club is very, very different. So I'm very, very excited to get into this bag. So much work went into it. I've gotten fitted for every single club in this bag, got fitted for the ball, grips, everything. So let's just get right into it. So before we get into the actual clubs, as you know how we've been doing lately, we're going to get into the contents of the bag itself. I'm not really going to go over the bag because in the next couple weeks, you're going to be getting an update on the new bag that I have. It is not going to be this one. I'm going to do a completely separate video on the bag itself. But let's start off with the ball. This offseason, I got fit for a ball, and I ended up in the Titleist Pro V1X. But this year, I also have done the subscription, and I got my old jersey number from football and basketball, and anytime I was ever able to pick my own number, I always picked 14. My birthday is February 14th, and so now I have that on every single ball this year. I'm also drawing a black line for alignment, and then two little blue dots to be able to identify my ball. I do intend on playing in a lot of tournaments this year, a lot of Pro V1Xs out there. Thought the 14 might be enough, but just in case. We went with the Pro V1X for a number of reasons. I really compress my irons quite a bit, and my dynamic loft was too low. So going with the Pro V1X, that allowed me a higher launch, as well as a higher spin rate, because I was not spinning the ball enough. I finally learned how to hit a draw and draw spin just a bit less, and it was a little bit too low for what I was liking. And the Pro V1X gave me that perfect spin rate. Moving forward, we have the same rangefinder as last year. We have the Go Sport V Pro. This thing, it's not on the higher end as far as price goes, but pairing this with my Arco sensors or even the Swing U app that I used last year, I have absolutely zero issues with it. I'm very proud of it. It does its job perfectly. There's not really too much to say about that. In my side little zipper pocket here, I'm starting to become quite the collector of ball markers. I'm really excited about that this year. Great company out of Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland supporting Cleveland. Start off with the Style Caddies ball marker. Love those guys over there. Shout out to them. We have the Stormtrooper, the Money Sign, the Millennium Falcon, the Oreo, and the Clown from Happy Gilmore. Cannot wait for July 25th. Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out. In the side pocket, we are always keeping the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, indoor, outdoor use. This thing gives pretty damn accurate numbers compared to the big guys, and it's very good for being on the go. Pre-round warm-ups, I really know where I'm spinning it that day. Helps me kind of, instead of doing on-course corrections, I'm able to kind of know what I have that day and work with that better rather than trying to, like I said, make those on-course corrections. All right, let's get into the good stuff here. If you've watched my videos before, you know that we always save the putter for last. I like to think of that as the main event. But before we do that, I do want to say that since my video last year I had the standard short slant TaylorMade Spider Tour X, the same one that Rory uses. I had a number of putters since then. I actually went through a phase at the second half of last year where I thought I wanted to be a putter collector. I had a DF3 sweeper. I had a standard DF3 that I got off the rack. I had two different Scotty Cameron Newport 2s. I also turned that same spider into an arm lock. That actually stayed in the bag for a while, but didn't like the waiting. So I'm very excited to tell you what I actually ended up landing on, because I am no longer a putter collector. I actually settled on one, and it's none of those that I just listed. So we'll get into that later. Let's start at the bottom end of the bag. And this is somewhere where this is a part of my bag where everybody thinks that I am clinically insane, and I might be. But I only have two actual wedges in the bag. If you count the pitching wedge, I have three, but it is in my iron set. It is not like a 46-degree wedge that you see a lot of these guys playing as their pitching wedge these days. That is something that intrigues me, but that'll be a 2026 move. For 2025, I am playing two different SM10s. We have a 52-degree, 8 degrees of bounce F grind, and a 60-degree, 10 degrees of bounce S grind, both SM10s. These have the True Temper Tour Issue S200 in them. And then something that I'll just knock out of the way right now, we have the Golf Pride multi-compound +4 grips. So same width from the butt to the end, all the way down, multi-combo, mid-size. That is from my lob wedge all the way through my driver. Every single one of them is the same. These wedges, I had to take one wedge out of my bag this year because of what I decided to do in the top end of my bag, which is honestly really exciting. And I was a little worried. I was like, man, this 14 club rule is kind of driving me insane. Like 15 clubs, a nice round number, just kind of makes sense. But 14 is the rule, so that's where we kept it. And I decided to take out that sand wedge at 54/56 degree wedge. What I found out, really, and this was by complete accident, is that I had too much options at the bottom end of the bag. I have now put in a whole lot of work this winter into my gapping in general, but especially down there. My 60-degree wedge, I have learned how to create so many different yardages with that just one club, where it's like, oh, I would like to use a 56 here and flight at this, and then maybe open up a 60. There was just so many options, and I really honestly simplified the bottom end of the bag. But trust me when I say in my gapping, I still maintain every yardage that I would possibly need. That 52 as well. Anything that's about 80 yards and up, the 52 is coming out. Anything less than that, typically it's going to be my 60. Getting into the irons, we have I don't know if I want to call it a triple combo set. It's almost a triple combo set. And just bear with me, I will explain. We start out from 7-iron through pitching wedge. I'm going to pull out the 7-iron here. We have the TaylorMade P7 CBs. These clubs, the number one word that I can use to describe them is butter. Um, these things, when you find the center of the face, you feel like you are the king of the world. And I cannot express that enough. These things feel so good. They're one of those irons where when you hit that sweet spot, you almost have to question if you even hit the ball. And if you ever hit an iron like this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As I'm getting a bit better, I am getting better at kind of intentionally shaping, whether it be right to left, left to right, high, low. Not ultimately, I wouldn't call myself consistent with any of that yet. I'm not quite at that level, but these are helping me get there. These are very easy to shape, and I was finding with the more forgiving irons that I had last year, the P790s, it's like, man, I really feel like I'm coming like really into out. I'm really feeling like I'm doing the shape movement. And then in my fitting for these, I actually, I was doing kind of the same thing, just testing myself, and it was like, oh, it's leaving a little bit farther right. It's curving a little bit more back left. Honestly, I was to a point where I had to kind of dial back what I'm doing. I was getting to a point where I was 5, 6+ degrees into out. That's too much. It's not too much with a P790, but it's too much with a CB. Going into the next stage, in the 4-iron through the 6-iron, so 4, 5, and 6, we have the 2024 TaylorMade P770s. These things are also, again, butter, but just a touch more forgiving than those CBs. Long irons, it's, I'm not giving you breaking news here. They're a lot harder to hit, and finding the center of the face is just a bit more difficult. Put the ego aside. Got something a touch more forgiving. And these ones, I'm not gonna try to shape quite as much. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna be flag hunting as much with the longer irons in general. That's just more about wanting a consistent yardage. And I definitely have found that with these. Definitely getting a lot better with the long irons this year. And with that, I had ordered my irons and I still had a really large gap at the top end of my bag between my 4-iron and my first fairway wood. My 4-iron these days are going about 225 carry, on a stock swing when I hit it well. But I still had a huge gap between that 225 carry and my next fairway wood, which I'll get into right after this. But I had like another 20-yard gap, or sometimes more, that I I I had to fill. I was like, I don't know if I want a hybrid. I don't know if I want a 3-iron. And then I actually, out of nowhere, came across this club in the wrapper on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a higher power telling me that it was being sent to me, because in my irons, the shafts that I play are the Project X LZs, the 6.0 120 gram stiff flex. I ended up going with the X LZs because I really enjoy a higher launch. Like I was saying with the ball earlier, I do compress quite a bit, so I need that little extra launch for me, and these shafts are huge for that. Perfect kick point with my swing. But when I was on Facebook Marketplace, I saw a 2023 TaylorMade P770 3-iron by itself in the wrapper with the same exact shaft. And I was like, if that's not a sign, then I don't know what is. So I met the guy up, grabbed it, and honestly, it's one of the better clubs in my bag right now. This thing carries for me about 240. The sweet spot is wonderful. And it also has a little bit of a stronger loft in the 2023 P770s than the 2024 ones do. So it's really honestly kind of operating as like a 2.5 iron of sorts. It's great off the tee. A lot of the courses that I have around here have dog legs around that 240, 250 range. And I'm really trying to get better with my course management this year. And instead of trying to drastically shape a driver, I can just hit this into that spot in the fairway. Nice standard swing. I'm really trying to simplify and take the ego away this year. And oddly enough, the 3-iron helps with that. All right, so that starts getting me into the fairway woods. The first fairway wood here, this one is a lot of fun. First of all, we have the Tiger head cover, Ryder Cup edition. This thing is awesome. Anyway, it is the Titleist TSR3. It's a 4 wood. It's a 16.5 degree. It's high launch 3-wood is what it's technically called, but it's a 4-wood. The reason that I can confidently call it a 4-wood is that I also shortened the shaft to what a 4-wood length shaft would technically be. A1 setting, weight in the middle. This thing in its standard setting is perfect for me. Changed out the Project X hazardous black shaft that I had in it for a Kurokage 60-gram silver. This thing just it gives me that little bit of mid-launch, mid-spin. Hazardous black definitely wasn't good for my swing if I'm already not spinning it enough. I actually, in the top end of my bag, they all have the same shaft, just to the appropriate lengths. But we did go 4-wood for gapping, and this is a club that I am extremely consistent with. It's my safety club this year. When in doubt, 4-wood. I am obsessed with it. All right, next, with this head cover, if you know, you know. This is the one club that I was talking about earlier that is the same this year as it was last year, just with the exception of the shaft. There's also a Kurokage 60-gram X-Flex silver. But underneath this head cover is the TaylorMade Burner Mini Driver. 13.5 degrees of loft, essentially a 2-wood. That is why we go 4-wood for gapping. This club is basically what I built my bag around this year. I have a fade bias right now with my driver, and the mini driver is set up for a draw bias. I only lose about 15-ish yards compared to my driver, but this thing, dispersion, much smaller. Dogleg left, more confident with a mini instead of, again, trying to shape driver. I can just keep driver as my standard fade club. Mini driver is my standard draw club. I need to hit a draw. If I'm trying to fight wind or whatever, it's a go-to. So I have a lot of tee options this year, and the mini driver is arguably the one that I'm most comfortable with, at least at the current moment. This club will be in my bag until it caves in. And then I'll probably get another one. I am a mini driver fanboy for sure. They're not for everybody. They don't fit everyone's game. I'm not gonna lie, but for what I need out of it is mainly that draw bias club to counteract my fade bias driver. Once again, on the theme of simplifying. All right, mini driver out of the way. Let's get into the big dog. But wait, we got 2 of them this year. We have both the Cobra Dark Speed X and the Cobra Dark Speed LS. Both are 2024 drivers. Difference being is that the LS is actually the 8-degree head. Now, if you know about Cobra, you're educated on their stuff, you know that the 8-degree head is actually a little bit smaller than even the regular LS head. It is technically their 4th option head from last year. So I've learned about myself is that there are days where I'm spinning it quite a bit. There are days that I'm not spinning it quite as much. Right, some days I need more spin. Some days I need less. Some courses are a bit longer. Some aren't. The LS head comes out on windy days, and it comes out on days where I'm spinning it a little bit too much. And then the X comes out when I need that touch more forgiveness. I think just like anybody else, I kind of go through spells with my driver where sometimes I'm hitting it unbelievably well, and then other times it's like, dude, keep it at home. So the days that I need to touch more forgiveness, I go with the X. The days where I'm feeling real good with it, I want to get an extra, 12 yards out of it, I go with the LS. I really love having the options this year. The Dark Speed driver, my opinion, is quite possibly one of the best drivers ever made. And I'm not even interested in the 2025 drivers. I am such a gearhead, and I really like to always check out what's new and what's going on in the world of gear. And this year, the new drivers don't even interest me because I'm so happy with these. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you've stuck around with me this long, I really appreciate you because it's now time for your main event of the evening. We have the putter. I just want to kind of circle back to what I was saying earlier. Again, last year I went through seven, eight putters. Ultimately, I went and got in-person fitted for the Lab DF3 counterbalance with the heavier head. Now, what makes this one so special for me is that my daughter Peyton actually helped me design it, and she picked out the colors and got her nickname put on the bottom. Ever since she was a baby, I would call her P Money, and so she helped me design this. This club is inspired by her. It's for her. But onto the actual tech of this putter. Everything that I used last year, with the exception possibly of the Scotty Cameron, was way too light of a club head. I never felt too stable when taking it back, and I always felt like I needed something heavier. And that's why I kept gravitating towards the Scotties, because it genuinely was a bit heavier, but the toe flow of the Scotty didn't really fit my stroke very well. I was very pulley with it. And I went in and I got fitted, and so I landed on the heavier head of the DF3, and it's honestly a little bit flat. It's actually 68-degree lie angle. It's also a 38-inch shaft, so when I'm setting up with it, I'm choked down about that much, which really kind of helps counteract that club head. And it's also perfect for the claw grip that I'm going with this year. And there is just so little thought that the putting yips are almost not a thing with this. The counterbalance technology really helps me bring it back and bring it through, and it really just flows on that pendulum really by itself. I finally think that I'm going to be like Tiger, not in skill, but in the fact that he's had the same putter since '99, and this one I'm so confident to say I believe is going to be in the bag for a long, long, long time to come. Um, White grip, white shaft, white head cover. This thing is clean. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been my 2025 What's in the Bag. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for the next episode of Gear Talk. Probably going to be a couple weeks out. If you are local to Cleveland and you are looking to be a guest on the show, please shoot me a DM. I would love to have just about anybody on and talk gear. This is my absolute passion. I very much enjoy these kinds of videos. I'm very excited to bring you my bag. So please stay tuned going forward. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.